After hauling out in Weymouth, we found serious rust issues in the keel of New Life. And to make matters worse, the propeller shaft had to come out too. We clearly needed a real Christmas break, so we decided to fly down to the south of Mexico to visit with an old university friend of Maria. In the previous video we showed Annette single-handedly running a dog shelter just outside Puerto Escondido. The closest place to stay nearby we found was the Yayo Ranch, but this was a homestay like no other, with Gaudi-inspired architecture and rescued wildlife conservation. And as you will see, on New Year's Eve we even had a private show with dancing horses. We are Nico, Maria and Rent, sailing around the Sea of Cortez in our boat New Life. To get to Puerto Escondido, we first had to drive 3 hours to Hermosillo Airport. Early next morning, we flew 4 hours to Mexico City, and after lunch, we boarded a smaller plane to take us to the coast. But when we used Google Maps to lead us to the farm, we reached a dead end.
It's a bit more challenging.
We were still trying to decide whether to continue on foot or go back and try another way when Napoleon turned up. He was out looking for his cows and introduced himself as the nephew of our host. Napoleon had been out looking for some missing cows, but he was happy to turn around to show us a better way to reach the ranch. As we arrived, the gates opened to a hidden fantasy world just outside town. When we entered, we found a horse ranch like no other. For a few days, we were the only guests, allowing us to freely explore the farm. We were surprised to discover a giant eagle at the entrance to a Hobbit house. A colourful tunnel led into a warren of brightly decorated underground caves. Down the hill, there were stables where horses were being trained every day. Everywhere, there were the farm animals you would expect, as well as more exotic wildlife. By the weekend, the owner, Gerardo, arrived with his wife and son. During the week, he works as a medical consultant in Oaxaca City, maybe 6 hours drive away. I asked Gerardo to tell me the story of the farm.
Hola, buenos días. Bienvenidos a Finca El Yayo, un proyecto ecológico que tenemos a raíz del amor a los caballos y a raíz de que mi abuelo tiene la oportunidad de comprar acá tierras, terrenos. Nos hereda una porción para ese proyecto, complementamos con otra porción que se compra y tenemos el proyecto de Finca El Yayo, que incluye una casa tipo Hobbit semienterrada para tratar de no usar tanta energía y que sea fresca por dentro con tierra encima. ¿Sí? Esto a raíz de un arquitecto que trabaja el ferrocemento. Ese es el proyecto de Finca El Yayo.
Before family and friends arrived for the Christmas holidays, the cook offered to show us the Hobbit house. There were several bedrooms clustered around a large common room and a walking ramp that circled a colourful pool. The layout and decorations were one of a kind. The attention to detail was mesmerising. And the bathrooms certainly were the highlight. It was clear that Gerardo had given the architects free rein to design a showcase product.
Como les comento, es una casa semienterrada con ferrocemento. El ferrocemento es muy noble porque son círculos tipo cuevas, no hay traves ni cortantes. Y el espesor del ferrocemento es de 4 a 5 centímetros y se puede moldear como si fuera plastilina. Después se endurece y es muy resistente, es anticiclones y ante sismos. No se va a caer, funciona con el principio del huevo. Hace una fuerza que hace que no se rompa porque está conectada toda la casa con el enmayado que lleva en medio del cemento. Y por eso nos decidimos por ese tipo de construcción.
But there was more to discover. Outside there was a swimming pool with no square corners, and a common area that invited spending time outdoors. I asked Gerardo if this was part of the original design.
Bueno, una vez terminada la casa, se hizo una piscina para mi hijo, para los niños que nos iban a visitar, incluso para nosotros. También es de ferrocemento, como pueden ver son círculos. Y la cocina está dentro de la casa, pero al estar conviviendo en la parte de afuera ocupábamos una cocina más amplia para la convivencia, para dar más lugar a los visitantes, e hicimos esta cocina que incluye los pilares que también son de ferrocemento, imitando a algo que acá se llama matapalo, un tronco principal y estas raíces que lo envuelven y lo ahorcan. Estos se encuentran de manera natural, aquí se hicieron con ferrocemento para no destruir las lagunas, que es de donde se obtienen estos recursos, y tenemos pues esta terminación.
The rooms in the Hobbit cave had already been reserved for personal guests. We were settled in a comfortable wood cabin surrounded by trees down below. Gerardo explained why he had built them.
El proyecto va complementándose con unas cabañas de madera, a base de madera y piedra, que se hicieron acá. Son 3. Esto es para recibir más amigos, más personas que nos visiten y se sientan en un entorno envuelto en la naturaleza. Por eso decidimos aquí ya usar madera y no el ferrocemento. Entonces tenemos 3 cabañas cómodas con todos los servicios y que su vista es hacia la naturaleza, hacia el bosque, hacia los árboles.
When we arrived, we not only noticed many farm mammals around the ranch, but also endemic birds and reptiles. I asked Gerardo why they were there.
Parte del proyecto también de Finca El Yayo es la conservación de animales. Aquí ahorita no hay animales, aquí normalmente tenemos boas o algunos tipos de serpientes que son rescatadas para primero vigilarlas, ver que estén bien de salud y después liberarlas a la naturaleza. Al fondo tenemos un quebrantahuesos y un halcón. Esos animalitos nos llegaron con las alas rotas, muy lastimados, los agarran muy pequeños, personas para el comercio, y nos los trajeron acá para que sanaran y después se liberaran. El problema es de que ya no pueden aprender a cazar en la naturaleza. Si los liberamos van a morir. Entonces los conservamos y se les da una buena calidad de vida, con buena alimentación, con suficiente espacio.
The highlight of the ranch were of course the horses. Often trainers would come past the common area exercising horses, or we would go down to the stables and watch them, take care of them.
There's a big smile. Wow.
Bueno, pues aquí estamos en el área de los caballos. Parte muy importante de Finca El Yayo es el proyecto con los mismos. Somos apasionados de los caballos, nos gustan los caballos, nos gusta tratar bien a los caballos también, que ellos nos traten bien. Estamos haciendo un proyecto de tratar de criar caballos de raza mitad española, mitad cuarto de milla, que son los caballos aztecas. Queremos meter algo de caballos Costa Rica y algo de caballos frisones. Y tenemos las instalaciones, como pueden ver, monturas. Este es un área de trabajo de los chicos que nos apoyan al cuidado y al diario tener de los caballos.
Coming home in the dark one evening, we found all of the brothers with their workers returning from an event celebrating the coming of age of a niece in the family. On Christmas Eve, it was time for a private show for friends and family. And us. Gerardo himself mounted a horse, so did a brother of his, and I got to have a turn as well. Walking through the fantastic projects on the Yayo Ranch made me remember my father. Like Gerardo, he would also follow his passions to realise visionary projects like the farm where I grew up, which was full of imagined living and workspaces and busy with horses, farm animals and more exotic creatures. And even those visions would not always connect with economic realism, they would never fail to inspire anyone who passed through to follow their own passions, like Gerardo surely also did.